Right, here we go. So I'm 5'6", something like that. This thing is absolutely huge. It's massive. So this is the parish church of St Melor in Mylor Churchtown, and this cross is, I don't really know how old, to be honest. Probably at least like 800 years old. Probably a lot older. There's someone, when I was reading online, that said there might actually have been like a pagan thing before, and then they carved it out to make it a cross instead. So it's entirely possible. It's very, very old. You can see parts come off on the side there. But incredibly tall, very cool. Not the main part of this visit. So this is the parish church itself. So we can actually go inside. Sort of typical Anglican church, really. Female priest.
Isn't that an oxymoron?
Oh no, they just. Oh no, she didn't lock it. Okay.
Oh, look at the chains though. They're like made of gold. Made of solid gold. Solid gold chain.
No. This is in font. And whoa, that's a lens flare. There we go. And this is the inside here. Pretty typical layout, really. The claim is that this was founded in 411 AD. It's entirely possible.
It would have been made out of wood at first, right?
I don't know. Fortunately, I wasn't around then, so I can't give an account of what was happening.
Dude, I was counting on you.
Yeah, I know.
Around at that time. Like,
Sorry to let you
you're
down.
my star witness. You're saying you weren't even there.
Yeah, I know. Right, shut this door. So, probably wondering at this point, who is St Mylor and Melor? Well, he was. It depends on the version that you're thinking about. So there's two sort of versions. One of them is that St Melor, I'll just call him that from now on, was either a Cornish prince or a prince from Brittany. It's probably more likely he was from Brittany, actually. And his father was named Melor, if I'm saying that correctly. And he had a relative who revolted against his father and killed his father. He murdered him. And Melor's son, Melor, was the only, well, sort of the next in line for the throne. And his relative, Rivold is the name of the guy, or Rivoldus, I think is the Latin, was going to kill him. And instead, his left foot and his right hand was cut off and replaced with metal instead. And he was sent to one of the monasteries to be brought up. And when he was 14, these body parts that had been replaced with metal were actually used as normal, so he was able to grab things with his metal hand and walk normally, which is very interesting. When he's 14 years old, he bribed the guardian of the boy, Melor, to kill him, and his guardian killed him. He cut off his head and carried it to the Duke, who was Rivoldus. And then what I have written here is literally, but angels with light stood around the body and guarded it. On the way to the Duke, his guardian, which is Cerialton, was parched with thirst and exclaimed, "Wretched man that I am dying from a drop of water." Then the head of the murdered boy said, "Cerialton, strike the ground with thy rod, and a fountain will spring up." He did so and quenched his thirst at the miraculous well and pursued his way. So he basically, St Melor gave him a well, and then this guy just carried on to give his head to his relative, which is crazy. When Rivoldus saw the head, he touched it, was sick, and he died 3 days later. The head was then taken back to his body and was buried with it. Eventually, some people say these relics were taken to Cornwall. We don't really know, but they were eventually taken to Amesbury, which is in Wiltshire in England. What else is here? Oh yes, so they stayed in Amesbury because when they brought the relics there, the relics wouldn't move because the saint wanted to stay there. So his relics have been kept there, and as far as we know, his relics are still there today. Although I don't think anyone's necessarily checked that, and I think it's an Anglican church that it's in at the moment.
For now.
For now. Yeah, patron saint. Yeah, right, that's it. So his feast day is the 1st of October in the new calendar in the Orthodox Church. And there's also a well here, actually, which I can go and walk around to. So the other version of the story says that St. Melor's mother was from, well, I don't think it was Devon, but it was sort of the southwest of what we now call England. But I think that's quite contested, really. It's much more likely that it was in Brittany. There's a lot of evidence for that. And on top of that, it's more likely that the saints' sort of cult spread to Cornwall instead of being the other way around. So you can see this graveyard's quite extensive, and this is the outside of the church building. I have no idea what do you think that is up there? I don't even know what that is.
Old bell tower, maybe? Maybe it's just a...
Oh no, actually I think you're right, because if you look, try and get the sun out of the way, there are vents on the side of it. So that's entirely possible, actually. Although, there's also one there, so... I
Let's
don't really
ask. Well, if we find the lady again, let's ask.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then we can document it.
Documented.
Video for the YouTubes.
Documented.
Seen this chat? Seen this church chat? Pretty bait.
Documented on video. So this is the well here. This is the holy well. I assume someone's been using this to water the garden. And there's a sign here that says, please dip carefully, we have newts in the well. You can see my hand is very washed out in this camera. Very nice.
It's good water.
Yep. I don't know where the source is actually. Don't know.
We should find the relics so we can ask.
Yeah, the relics.
Yeah. Well, it was his head that, like...
No, that's in the story. That's in Brittany.
Ah.
No, it's not this well. So that's pretty much the extent of this area. The graveyard goes back extremely far. Even went up the hill. Do you remember we walked past that?
Yeah.
Like up the hill, past that bell tower there, sort of on the right, there was a much larger graveyard. So there was a troparion I managed to find.
Yeah.
Off an Orthodox website. You can say it if you want.
What is it? Like,
No, I would just say it.
Alright. Jealousy and spite were thy enemies, O righteous Melor. Yet despite poison and mutilation, thou didst not waver in the faith, and was found worthy to wear the crown of martyrdom. Pray, O Holy One, that following thy example we may withstand the assaults of the enemy, and finally attain eternal salvation.
The interesting thing in the troparion is there was a book from Gilbert Doble about St. Melor actually. It's a good book, but it kind of sent me to sleep because it's so dry. But poison and mutilation. So we spoke about mutilation. Poison, I don't actually remember what the poison is referencing.